Okay, it used to be 7:30, so I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting of the Maine Township Board. The first thing I'd like to do is to invite everyone to stand and say the Qualifications.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much for everyone who's attended this evening. All right, first thing I'd like to do is to get a roll call from our clerk, Mr. Gillette.
Assessor Cry absent. Highway Commissioner LeVay.
Present.
Clerk Gillette is here. Supervisor Diamond.
Here.
Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee Horvath.
Here.
Trustee Maher.
Here.
And Trustee Malik.
Here.
All right, thank you very much. So we'll begin to move through our agenda right now. First of all, we have a motion to approve the minutes of May 21st, 2021 bill pay review.
Motion to approve the minutes of May 25th, 2021 bill pay review. Second.
Any discussion, comments, or corrections? Hearing none, I'll call for a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes?
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
All right, moving on to approval of minutes of May 25th, 2021, the board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Making a motion to approve the minutes of May 25th, 2021 board meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Any questions, comments regarding those minutes? Okay, fine. May I have a roll call? Sorry.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
Okay, all right, may I have a motion to approve the general assistance expenditures?
Motion to approve payroll for pay dates of May 28th, 2021 and June 11th, 2021, and general assistance checks number 53500 through check number 53543 in the amount of $48,184.26.
Second.
Second. Are there any questions or comments regarding that motion? Roll call?
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
May now have a motion for approval of the road district expenditures.
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll for pay dates of May 28th, 2021 and June 11th, 2021, and road district checks 21,900 through check 21,942 in the amount of $93,042.81.
Second.
Any questions? Comments? All right. Okay. Have a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
Moving on to the next one, do I have a motion to approve the general town fund expenditures?
Motion to approve payroll for pay dates of May 28th, 2021 and June 11th, 2021, and general town fund checks number 58700 through check number 58765 in the amount of $252,791.74.
I'll second the motion.
Any questions or comments? May I have a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Now we're on number 6 on the item number 6 on our agenda regarding personnel. And I'm going to ask Mr. Rich Lyon to step up to the microphone, if you would please, just in case we have any questions or just want to make sure everyone can hear you. Thank you very much. Joanne, this is personnel on our volunteer department, is that correct?
That's correct.
Would you tell us about the positions that are sought to be filled by this matter, which is before us right now?
Sure. Well, tonight, Mainstay has 2 open full-time positions for consideration by the board, a family therapist position and a youth program coordinator position. Both positions are existing, they're not new. The family therapist position has been vacant since February of this year, and the youth program coordinator position has been vacant since November of last year. The family therapist position provides counseling services for residents, both to children, families, and individuals, and runs groups. The youth program coordinator position is responsible for most of the programs that we provide for at-risk youth in the community, including several different mentoring programs, an art program, and a summer camp. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions from the board members regarding this?
I would just wonder, are we still giving preference if we can to people who live in the township? Not necessarily.
Generally, yes, we do not have any candidates that are
Okay.
positions.
But I looked at the resume, good people. Okay. That's my only question. Okay.
Any other questions? No? And these are existing positions that were open for a while?
Correct.
And you've been able to fill them after searching for some time, is that correct?
Yes, it was a long search process.
All right, if there aren't any further questions, then I will ask for a motion to approve the hiring of both the Mainstay therapist full-time position and the Mainstay youth coordinator full-time position. That was just one.
We can take it as one if everybody's comfortable voting on each of them as a block.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to vote for both positions, the Mainstay therapist full-time position, and the Mainstay youth coordinator full-time position.
I'll second the motion.
And is there any other comment on this matter? All right, then make a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Mager?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your efforts.
Okay. All right, we're now on number 7, public participation. I do have one request for public participation. Is it Mr. Raphael Renola? Yeah. Is that correct? I'm sorry, I said your name wrong. All right. If you'd like to step over there, we can hear you a little bit better. Sure.
Hi. All right. My name is Raphael Renola. I live in Des Plaines. And I don't want to take too much of your time, but I'd be mad at myself if I didn't make public comment about this change in the flag policy to fly the pride flag. This was, point of contention in Des Plaines, and I'm just going to rehash what I said at that city council meeting. The most prominent argument that I heard that day was that flying the pride flag was pandering to the LGBTQ+ community, which was a special interest group. Of course they aren't. It's a community that has endured centuries of pain and discrimination. And this is discrimination that's exemplified in the outrage that's occurred because some communities chose to fly the flag. So please fly the flag. It's a symbol, it's an act of inclusivity and acknowledgement of the diverse community in Maine Township. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no other, oh wait, is there a request for public comment? All right, yeah, if you'd like to step up. I don't have your name down here, perhaps you can sign in later, but go ahead.
Good evening, Township Board and Supervisor. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Briefly, just want to reintroduce myself, Michael Flood with Flood Brothers Disposal, one of the participants for the RFP for refuse collection. Just want to let you know here tonight to answer any questions that you might have on our proposal or our service capabilities. Hopefully through the review that you guys took over the last month to see in our proposal, you notice our commitment to the community. We are a family-owned and operated company that actually has family from the Maine Township community. My father, along with his 11 siblings, all grew up and were born and raised in Maine Township, attended township schools. My grandparents lived in Maine Township in Morton Grove for over 60 years. My brother, who would serve as the route supervisor for this contract, as well as myself, both attended Notre Dame High School in Niles. So the commitment and our understanding of the township is very deep and thorough. Another commitment that extends past our service capabilities is our commitment to develop youth interest in sustainability and become partners with the Maine East Environmental Group. We included that in our proposal, as well as the Des Plaines Environmental Group Clean Up, Give Back, a program that we would look to participate in within this township contract. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Looks like we have another request for public participation.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Bill Kenny. I'm the municipal manager for Lakeshore Recycling Systems, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you tonight. It's the one time I feel like the short guys when we're having to follow from Michael Flood. Just want to let you know I'm here to answer any questions. We believe we've submitted a very comprehensive bid. There's always a lot of moving parts to those, so if there's any sort of confusion or just general questions or queries, I'm here to answer as many questions as you like. And again, I just really appreciate the opportunity to do this work. Thank you.
Thank you for raising that. Thank you. Are there any other requests for public participation? All right. Then, not seeing any, we'll move to number 8, which is our administrator's report. David, would you like to step up to the mic and give us your reports? Thank you.
Good evening. I want to welcome trustees late to this first board meeting. Okay, just a quick explanation. You received these big spreadsheets on the ledger forms in your board packet, and I just want to give a quick explanation to what they are. So there are 3 funds included in those: town fund, general assistance, and road and bridge. Just very quick, you will see that there's every line item under expenditure and revenue. And so basically, they show they're going to show every line item from the beginning of the fiscal year up until the current month given. And you'll see that there's columns which give you information on year-to-date disbursements, balances, percentage left for the remaining fiscal year, which ends February 28th of 2022. And I just wanted to let you know if you have any questions regarding this. It might be confusing in the beginning, but I think this gives you a good feel for where we are throughout the budget every month. If you see the little number up in the left-hand corner, you'll see that 75. That's obviously where we should be this time in the fiscal year. That will change every month. So I just kind of wanted to explain what these sheets are. I didn't really put a cover sheet with these. The only other thing I want to let you know is that I'm going to have on the agenda for you a different department head speaking each month. I know that they supply summaries for you in the board packet, but I think it's nice to have somebody come for you to meet them and hear maybe some details of some upcoming events. If you want to ask any questions about their program or their departments, it's a good opportunity to do that. We have Austin, who's going to be speaking, I think, right after me about general assistance. We can do a little overview of his department. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you very much. Do any of the trustees have any questions regarding the reports that were in our packet?
I did. I just had one question. Some of the monies on the charter are monies we spend, and others are what we're collecting from the public. Is that right?
Correct.
So sometimes it's a little confusing in the chart, but I think I followed you.
So the revenue is what we bring in, the expenditures is what we spend.
All right. Okay. One of the columns was a little confusing though with the balance. So when you say the balance, it may not necessarily be the money we have left over. It might be a projected.
So that's the balance, what we have in that line item or in the budget.
Okay. Maybe I read that. It was a little confusing. Okay. Money we spend, money we collect. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions about the way the chart is organized or anything like that? Okay. All right. We will go on then to our next item. This is item number 9. Mr. Austin Kelso, would you like to step up to the microphone? As our administrator, David Bergen, just mentioned, It's our intention to invite one department head to every meeting, so we gradually will get to know a little bit more about each one of our departments. Were we to do it all in one night, it would be a very long meeting, and this will give us a chance to do this over a period of time. So, Austin, I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about your department and also about matter which is on our agenda a little bit later on the page.
Sure. So I am Austin Kelso, I'm the Director of General Assistance here. Our main program is the actual program General Assistance, which is a welfare program. It is for individuals who have little to no income. It is, we provide various payments to kind of alleviate their stresses. We can cover a portion of their utility bills. We can cover a portion of the rent. We do offer access to food, and that is via Aldi cards, so that they can go and buy food from the Aldi stores. And that is only food. There's restrictions on those cards, so that, it's monitored so that they can only buy food items. Another program that we offer is LIHEAP, which is our energy assistance program. Now this is for low-income families who own their homes or rent and pay for their utility bills. That is a program that we actually partner with CETA, who is based in Chicago. We are one of the biggest sites in Illinois for that. Just this past season of LIHEAP, we helped 1,400 different households apply for the program. Now, the amount that they receive to alleviate their stresses for utility bills always varies from family to family, so there's no set amount. But that is an extremely high traffic program that we offer. We do have a SHIP specialist, which is catered towards seniors. Two of the big things that we do are we help people who are newly retired apply for Medicare and learn about all the different types of Medicare and the one that's going to fit them the best based off of the medications that they take, what they pay, and things like that. And if you look on your agenda under 11 new business, I think it is the 6th bullet point, you have the discussion and vote on the line item transfer from town fund to the youth recreation fund. That is a sort of scholarship program that we offer families who want their child to attend summer camps over the course of summer, but they just simply cannot afford to send them there. So we do help them as long as it is a park district within the township. We will cover $275 per child, as long as that doesn't exceed over half of the exact amount that they're going to pay. And that could be for anyone, if they have one child or if they have 11, we can offer $275 per child to help them get to the summer camp and alleviate some stress for them during the summertime.
Okay. So, Austin, we have an item on our agenda that says discussion and vote on line item transfer from town fund operating supplies to youth recreation fund. So it's the youth recreation fund from which the scholarship money would come from.
That's true.
Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
But initially it did not have a line item amount in it. Is that right?
Yeah, so what happened was they didn't run summer camps during the coronavirus, so we did not have I believe we had $1 on the line item, just anticipating that. And we weren't really sure what was going to happen this year with the coronavirus and summer camps. So there was $1 left in it to make sure that it stayed open for when we could offer it again. And now I have gotten a lot of calls from families, so I thought it would be best to approach getting some money in there so that we could help some people out this year.
All right, so the proposal, I understand, is to transfer $3,000.
That's correct.
From the town fund operating supplies to the youth recreation fund for the specific purpose. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. And Daniel, I understand that the town fund operating supplies does have $3,000 in it that can be transferred.
It does, and just real quick, the reason we have excess is last year during COVID, we spent quite a bit of money on hand sanitizer, masks, cleaning supplies, obviously cleaning the building nonstop because of the pandemic. Now, obviously, we're at the very tail end of it, so I believe we are going to have a surplus, and so that's where I think we can take the money from to transfer it to use that money.
Okay, all right, yes.
Austin, how many kids, how many scholarships do we give away generally?
So it would be kind of the amount that we have in the line item divided by 275, because that's the maximum we can afford to each child. I know that, so since I've been the department head, we really only ran it once, because that was the year before the pandemic happened. I think we helped 12 individual children
Right.
for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And how many kids sign up for this?
You know, it depends. So like, you know, we'll have a family with 4 children, so then they are able to send all 4 children. And we have some folks who only have 1 child. I know, again, it was 12 individual children the first time I was overseeing it here. So that's, but the Park District camps in general, I mean, they're pretty massive, so I don't really know how many they hold.
This isn't the camp that we run.
No.
Correct.
Oh,
This
okay.
is
This is not our camp.
No, this is
Correct.
separate. And I
Okay.
want to mention too, these families have to go to the park districts first to ask for a
Okay.
discount, and then the remaining money we will help them with.
Okay, we're not doing our camp.
No, but we will start looking at next summer.
Oh, okay, I thought this was for our camp.
Yeah, sorry for the confusion.
Okay, thanks.
Are there any questions from other trustees regarding the program that was just referenced or the department in general?
I have a suggestion, for this dinner assistant program. So is it possible, can we add in like a funeral assistant?
I'm sorry.
Like we have a rental assistant, can we add the funeral assistant program if somebody, passed away and doesn't have money for the funeral?
Funeral assistance.
Yes. So can we add in this
I
program?
don't know
funeral
if we have
assistant program?
that. I don't think.
Sure, so I will, as long as they were a general assistance client at the time of their death, we do cover, I believe via the law, it's up to $200 is the maximum that we can help them alleviate that with. But unfortunately, it is not for, say, a family member of one of the clients, it would be for the specific client passing away.
All right. Any other questions?
I just said, other than, we are obviously very poor people, are there any other qualifications before they get into the program generally?
So there's
What are the
since there's different programs, general assistance pretty stringent, there's a lot that goes into that.
Oh, I see. It's not just, what are the other, just for general assistance?
Yeah, general assistance. So I will state this way, a big bulk of the clients that we get for general assistance are individuals who are pending disability.
Okay.
Because they are in a status where they cannot make any money. But the disability process can take, the maximum I've seen is 10 years, which is an extremely long time for them to actually get in.
Essence,
Correct, yeah.
okay. So disability and very poor, obviously, are the 2 main ones.
Correct. And if they're able-bodied, it is a requirement that they have to continuously seek work while they are with us.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, my pleasure.
All right. So now we're going on to number 10, which is old business, the discussion and vote on the waste hauler proposal consideration for the unincorporated area. As you may recall, we had some discussion about this matter at our last meeting, and we decided that we would request that our staff, along with residents of the unincorporated area, form a committee to evaluate the proposals that we received. And Doreen is going to talk to us about just a minute about this, but first I just want to acknowledge and thank all of these individuals who served on the committee. I don't think any of them were able to be here tonight, but I just want to thank publicly Beverly Sussman, Lila Gardner, Louise Fredrickson, Laura Broden, Yorsi Dayu, Altif Bukhari, Sarin Bukhari, and several of our staff members, Dana Berman, Nader Gazeli, and Doreen Perlak. So I'd like, again, to thank those people who served on this committee. And Doreen, would you please step forward and tell us what the result was of the committee's deliberations as to what company they prefer.
Thank you, Supervisor Diamond. Good evening. At the suggestion of Supervisor Diamond, I solicited 7 residents from the unincorporated area, plus our administrator and our code enforcement officer, to participate on an advisory committee to discuss the 3 waste collection proposals submitted by Flood Brothers, Lakeshore Recycling, and Republic Services. All the committee members received copies of the 3 proposals for their review. Cost is an important factor with our residents, along with service. There were only a few complaints about our present vendor. 2 of the committee members commented about one of the vendors who has a contract with the neighboring municipality. There has been some articles in the paper and comments on a blog site that the refuge cans do not close properly and they blow over too easily, scattering its contents. All 3 proposals addressed all of the township's requests in the RFP. I personally feel that 2 particular options from Flood Brothers' proposal would be very beneficial to our residents. The first option is for the seniors 65 years of age and older. The first, they can order a 35-gallon refuse cart and a 35-gallon recycling cart for a lesser price than the 95-gallon cart. Not only is a smaller cart easier to handle for a senior, but they save a little money each month. The second option is electronics recycling. Flood Brothers will collect up to 6 electronics from a residence, which can include 1 television, for a very reasonable price of $30. There is no place where the unincorporated residents can drop off electronics at no charge, so it is very common to see televisions dumped around the township. I suspect that even small electronics end up in the garbage cans, which we all know is against the law. At the end of the meeting, I took a poll of everyone's choice from the 3 vendors. All 7 residents and all 3 Maine Township employees voted for Flood Brothers. Are there any questions?
Among the committee, there were at least 3 people who work for the township, Lorraine?
Yes, myself and my administrator and code enforcement officer.
And are they the people that generally, regularly deal with refuse?
Most
They're the ones that
I deal with all the complaints that I usually get most of the complaints Nader does. So yes, you know what's going on with the garbage.
You actively participated in it, nobody tried to shut you down, and you guys were, your voice is heard, right? Okay. That's all I know. Okay.
Did the committee have a preference for the length of the contracts?
That was something we didn't get into. I had mentioned it and then we kind of stopped talking about it. I personally feel 5 years is the way to go, but then the administrator mentioned something we have to check with the attorney.
Well, I have done that. I will, actually, might as well ask you right now. The question is regarding the length of the contract. I understand the proposals are for 4 years, 5 years, or 7 years. And we wanted to know if there was any statutory limit on how long the contract might be. And could you address that?
Certainly. So generally, there's a prohibition on contracts extending beyond the term of the board, so 4 years. But in this case, the township code actually allows the township to enter into a contract for up to 15 years. That's the statutory cap for a waste hauling contract. So we have a specific authorization in the township code to go beyond that 4-year period that would generally we look to keep contracts.
Thank you. All right.
What is the benefit of having a longer contract? I mean, when I look at this, the prices don't seem like they sort of increase a little bit every year. So when you're up to the 7th year, you're up to a higher amount. But then if you only did a 4-year contract and you restarted it, you sort of start back at a lower amount. I'm just wondering what's the benefit for having a 7-year contract versus a 4-year contract?
Well, you're just locking in a certain rate.
Price point.
You know,
Well, it could go up, yes.
Yeah. And, you know,
It's
inflation
kind of a
will
hedge
go
against
up.
inflation.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Lock in the price, right?
And I think my concerns with any vendor that was not our current vendor, just because I live in Des Plaines, and so I was part of all of that. We recently switched vendors, and I've not had any issues with our new trash cans or the service. It's been fine for me, but I do know there were a lot of concerns with residents. And so I guess I just want to make sure that whoever we go with, that it's communicated well. And even though I felt like the vendor communicated well with the residents, they sent mailings to the house, it was in the newsletter that went out, there were still residents that felt like, oh, I didn't know my trash can was getting switched. And it seemed like it was, people needed a lot of prep time to sort of prepare. So I want to make sure that when we do this, there's a lot of time.
A lot of press release, a couple
Yes.
press releases will go out. The Mainly News, if we could make it into the Mainly News, which is coming out very shortly, right?
Well, in August, yeah. The switchover won't be till November, though, I think.
I know, but at least you'll let the residents know what's going
And I
on.
mean, you may still have residents that even
Of
despite all
course,
of
that
that.
don't read,
Right.
don't know what's going on.
Correct. Yeah, so and I think the other concern in Des Plaines was a quality issue. I know somebody mentioned the trash can lids didn't close, but the way that I understood it, it was because they were being manufactured in Texas. They were shipped up to Des Plaines in the middle of a very cold snap. And so it was sort of a not your typical situation. So, but that was a complaint that a lot of residents had, were sort of quality issues. So again, whoever we choose, I think we want to make sure that we have, good quality trash cans for them.
That's a very good point, because I know even the cans that we have now in displays are not as heavy or quite as durable. I agree with you. I personally haven't had problems, but
others, yeah. I mean, they're actually great for me, because I've got a 13-year-old who now has no excuses to be able to haul them in at the end of the evening because they're light.
they're a little more susceptible to blow open on a windy day.
Yes.
But
Yeah, but they work fine for me. So, and I don't know. I mean, these are the Lakeshore Recycling, and so we had the Republic. So I don't know what how the flood cans compare to those, but.
Well, they were in the proposal, and they looked pretty good. That's why I tended to.
Sure, but nobody was able to actually see one.
You're right, no.
Okay.
No, absolutely not.
All right, does anyone have any thoughts about the length of the time of the contract?
That's a question. Not really about the length. I had a question.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Doreen, we've been currently with Republic for about 8 years, is that right?
Even more than that, I think 2004 is when we started with them.
Do you feel that the committee fully discussed the ramifications of cutting off the customer relations that we developed with that company over the time period? And we should move to it. Obviously, all these companies, I thought, had great proposals, all three. And I'm wondering, do you think that was thoroughly discussed,
I believe so.
cutting off the relationship?
They understood what was going to happen, absolutely.
Okay, and the
We looked
committee
at
was...
the proposals, they all looked at the proposals.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please.
So I'm the liaison between the township and the municipal manager, and I can tell you Republic has had quite a bit of turnover. And every couple of years, I'm working with Tish Powell now, who was great, but she's moved to that position.
I see.
And I would say Doreen is right, we've had a contract with them for a very long time, but unfortunately, every 2 years, I get an email, the person in that position is left, and now they're introducing me to a new person, we have to start all over.
I see.
Introducing them to Mayor and Doreen and whatnot. I do want to make sure that the board understands that Republic has increased their rate by $3. We're working with low-income families in the incorporated area. Flood and Lakeshore has decreased the price.
Right.
But
I thought they were closer though on the paperwork I saw. There's a significant difference, I want to say.
$3 is low, you can get a lot of phone calls.
I see. Okay, I thought it was closer. Okay.
Yeah.
I had a bar when it goes up 50 cents.
Yeah, exactly.
I
So
see.
to go
Okay.
$3 for a low-income family is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's why I switched to displays too. It was going to go up $5.
Right.
Which was a
Okay.
lot for people, so.
Both Flood and Lakeshore are both reasonable.
They actually
prices,
increased.
too.
It actually
Yeah.
costs the residents less.
Lakeshore as well.
Right.
Just wanted to know what was discussed.
So does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any questions about the length of the contract?
I would say it's the 4-year, that would be my recommendation.
And is there a reason why 4 years?
Well, I mean, I think it promotes healthy competition. There's great competition on this one. And so, the prices are all going to be competitive, I think. I don't think by locking ourselves to a long-term contract, I don't think we're going to save that much money, to be honest with you. That's the advantage to a long-term contract, fixing the price in times that are hard or changing. You know what your price is going to be. I don't think the prices are going to change that much. I think we've got 3 great companies that are competing just in this one situation. So I would recommend a shorter contract.
Kelly?
I honestly don't really have a thought on the length. I see the benefits for a little shorter or a longer. 7 years makes me a little nervous. It seems like a really long time, but I don't know if that's, what have the contracts been in the past? Are they typically?
We had a 10-year contract at some point.
Okay, so you do. Okay. My one other question, which is not for length, is that okay? Do you want to focus?
Let's just
Gotcha.
finish on the length
Okay.
issue. Anyone have any other thoughts on length?
I agree with James. I think it should be the 4-year, so.
Can I just say one thing? If we go with the 4-year contract, it will expire, let's see, May, June, July, August, September. The new board will be in, and they'll only have like 5 months, the next term, to decide. If you go with 5 years, you got 1 year and 8 months, you got a little bit longer. That's why I was thinking that the 5-year contract would be better for the next board term to be then we don't have to run into like we ran in with Republic right now. We had to extend the contract for 6 months because we couldn't do a new contract because the new board was coming in.
Well, I think that makes sense. I think that's a valid.
Good point.
Yes, probably.
Would 5 years be acceptable to you?
Yes, if everyone else thinks so. Yeah.
All right, now there's one other question, I think. Do you have any other question, Kelly?
Yes, my only other question is that everybody was able to sort of give projections for the rates past the first year, but Flood Brothers did not and said it would just be equal to 1.5% to the minimum and maximum of 3%. And I guess that, I'm just curious why the others were able to give figures, but they weren't. And so what we have are just sort of estimates of what they're going to be.
Well, it's not estimates, it's actually 1.5% or 3%.
Right.
I tried to give, the board an idea of what it would be at the lower percent versus the higher
So
percent.
and then the residents, they were okay with that and they understood that it could be 3%? And
Yes.
So at the maximum, they were okay?
Yes.
So, okay, that's all.
They saw those figures like you saw those
Okay.
figures, I didn't.
Gotcha.
And the starting figures were favorable from flood. The starting figures.
All right, do any of the board members have any other questions or comments? No. All right, so I'd like to know if someone would make a motion. I'd like to make a motion. I'm sorry, public comment is over. I'm sorry. A motion to accept the recommendation of the committee to award the contract to Flood Brothers for a 5-year period of time. Is there such a motion?
I second the motion.
No, you have to make it.
Oh, I have to make it.
Actually, you would be making the motion. I'm asking for if someone wants to make the motion. Would you like to make that motion? Austin? Or maybe?
I'll make a motion.
No,
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll make a
And then
motion.
you can second it if you'd like
Okay,
to.
so
That's okay. We're all in this. I'll make a motion to award the contract to Flood Brothers for 5 years.
I second the motion.
All right, okay, fine. Now that the motion is actually on the floor, are there any other comments or questions? All right. Hearing none, I'll ask you to do a roll call.
I just had a question for Doreen real quick. Did either of the waste haulers give staff access to a street supervisor? Should there be any issues that they need, a pickup or somebody dumped a mattress on the side of the road?
Oh, yeah, they have 24-hour,
Okay.
where you can contact them. Yes, they had names on certain ones, absolutely.
Good.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to do that ordinance right now.
Yes. We'll sign off on that by the.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Maureen.
Thank you, Doreen.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, the next item we have on our agenda is appointment and vote on an ethics ordinance. And you have this in your packet. You have the Maine Township Ordinance 2004-2, and reading it, you will note that the Illinois General Assembly enacted the State Officials Employees Ethics Act back in 2003, and that it requires us, as a local government body, to adopt ordinances or resolutions regulating the political activities and the solicitation and acceptance of gifts by officer employees. So, our ordinance was adopted some time ago, but we do have vacancies on the Ethics Commission, and you also need to appoint an ethics advisor. So I have volunteered to serve as the ethics advisor. This is in Article 15 of the model ethics ordinance that we adopted. But we also need an ethics commission made up of 3 members with the advice and consent of the board. Members of the commission cannot be related either by blood or marriage to any elected officer of Maine Township, but they should live in Maine Township, and no more than 2 members of the commission shall belong to the same political party at the time appointments are made. Last meeting I asked for suggestions, nominations of individuals to serve, and fortunately we have found 3 individuals who live in Maine Township who are willing to serve on the commission. So I'm going to name them now and ask them to stand. Mr. Mohammed Amin Bali, would you please stand up? Thank you very much. You can have a seat. I'm going to ask Mr. Ed Eicher to stand up, also of Maine Township, and you're from Des Plaines, is that right? And Mr. Bali, where do you live? Des Plaines also? Yeah, great. Okay, fine. And we have one other individual, and don't think she's been able to join us tonight, is Audrey Nankervis. So she's also volunteered to serve on the commission. So now that we have volunteers to fill these open spots, I'd like to receive a motion to appoint myself, Karen Diamond, as the ethics advisor to the Ethics Commission, and to appoint Audrey Nankervis, Ed Eicher, and Mohammed Amin Bali to the commission as members. Do I have such a motion? You could just say so moved. So moved.
Okay, we don't have to do the whole.
Yeah, just so moved.
The whole litany,
So
memorization.
Second.
All right.
Who moved it? I'm sorry. Jane?
The movement.
Trustee Maher?
I did, thank you, I moved for that. As spoken.
And do I have a second? Okay, fine. Thank you very much. Now that that matter is on the table, do we have any questions or comments about this matter?
Just thank you for volunteering. Thank you for volunteers. Volunteers are good
Yeah.
for society.
For those of you that haven't met Audrey, she's been a very active participant in the township for many years. Wonderful lady, and she'll do a great job.
I second that.
As will Ed and Mohammed.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll make a roll call vote.
Certainly. Supervisor Diamond?
Yes?
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, thank you very much, gentlemen, and you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but you don't have to. But again, thank you for volunteering and for attending, so we could meet you this evening. We appreciate your being here. Okay, we will now go on to the next item on our agenda, which is discussion and vote on the flag display policy. So you have this in your packet here. We did talk about this matter briefly during our last board meeting, and we decided that we did need a policy regarding flying the flags. And we do have a proposed policy before you this evening, what that policy provides is that the flags that currently fly over Maine Township, including the flag of the United States, the state of Illinois, and Maine Township, and the POW MIA flag, which are already up there, can be flown, along with any other flag donated to the Township Board that is flown or has been flown by the state of Illinois at the Capitol. So this is the proposed policy, which is before you this evening. Do I have a motion to adopt this policy?
Yes, I'll move to adopt a policy for a flag display policy, resolution number 2021-7.
Right. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, thank you. Is there any questions or comments regarding the proposed policy? Hearing none, if you would please take a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
No.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we will move on to the next item, which is discussion and vote on the board meeting time change, beginning with our next meeting, that is beginning with the July meeting. So we have, I think, a consensus among the members that are here that we will continue to meet for bill pay at 6:30, but because it only seems to take about a half hour to do that, we will then start our meeting at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, same day that has been scheduled in the past, but bill pay will remain at 6:30, and the meetings will start at 7. So may I have a motion to amend our schedule of regular board meetings so as to reflect those new times, same dates, but new times. Do I have a motion to that effect?
Yes, I'll move to change the times.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any concerns or questions about this time change?
Sounds
Try to
great.
do a better job on overview.
Okay,
That's my
great.
comment. Try to do a better job. Get it done.
All right, may I have a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right, fine, thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is discussion, not vote, but a discussion to adopt the 2018 International Property Maintenance Code into our ordinance book. Now, Ed, would you just address this matter? I think you have some concerns about perhaps the organization of our ordinances, and I think this is something we may want to address in the future, although start the discussion tonight. So would you lead off with this?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, and thank you Supervisor Diamond and fellow board members. The thought behind bringing this issue up is to give the board a chance to review our current ordinance book and also review and adopt as necessary any relevant sections from Chapter 3 in the 2018 International Property Maintenance Code, more specifically exterior property maintenance sections. For those of you who don't know, the 2018 IPMC book is the most up-to-date community standards for property maintenance. I know it's important for me, myself, along with the rest of the elected officials, to make sure we are staying current with our code and providing our residents the highest quality of life standard that we can. Also, giving our code enforcement officer as many tools as we can to do his job effectively is important to all of us. It is my hope that I can sit down with our code enforcement officer at some point in the next month and come up with a couple of ideas and sections within that code that would be beneficial to him and the township, and then provide them to the board in the next consecutive month or the month after for adoption and review. So that's my hope. If it's okay with Supervisor Diamond and the rest of the board, I would like to ask that Nate, our code enforcement officer, step up to the podium to see what his input is on this topic and what he feels that could be beneficial to him in doing his job more effectively.
Please, Nita, would you please step up to the microphone so we can hear you? Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Code Enforcement Officer. My name is Nader Gazetli. I went through Eddie's ideas. We went into the International Code Council, and I do agree that Section 302 sanitation, sidewalks and driveways, and there was one other one, displacement of properties is an excellent idea for Maine Township. Also the rubbish section 308, I don't want to read the whole thing, but it's quite a bit of it. It would be good to go through it and try to modify our ordinances and make them comply with it also. Any questions?
Do you encounter any difficulties when going through our incorporated area, finding problems and addressing them under our current code?
Yes and no. We don't have anything regarding graffiti.
I'm sorry,
Graffiti.
Oh, graffiti.
Right, so that would be a big plus for us. That I'll read it real quick. A person shall not willingly or wantonly damage, mutilate, or deface any exterior surface of any structure or building on any private or public property by placing thereon any markings, carvings, or graffiti. It shall be responsible of the owner to restore said surface and improve state of maintenance and repair, which we don't have.
Okay. Does any of the other board members have any questions, Mayor, regarding why changes might be a good idea?
I just had a question about, so your process now, so if there's somebody who is in violation, do you give them multiple warnings, or what is the process that you do?
We first give them deficiencies. We write up a deficiency and we give them a certain amount of time to comply.
Okay.
If it hasn't been met, then we go in with a citation.
Okay, and then if they continue to not comply, what is the next step?
Well, that's where I need assistance as far as enforcing the tickets.
Okay, so that's not being done or hasn't been done?
No.
Okay, well, that sounds like something we should do. Okay.
Any other questions from board members?
Any changes to the code, they're sensitive to the needs of elderly people, handicapped people, people that aren't in the house all the time, people who work long hours, right? I'm sure you're very fair with them, giving them an opportunity before the fine stuff to happen.
Absolutely, yes. I always like to verbally speak with the residents first, ring a doorbell, knock on a door. Even before I write a deficiency, that's my first step always. Try to create a communication with them.
Give them a chance to comply.
Absolutely.
Fine stuff.
And then we have a lot of transits and low-income people, so
Absolutely.
it's nice to
Time
try to
to cure it before fines and penalties.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a question for the attorney real quick. So are we allowed to adopt or add certain sections of the chapter to this code, or are we required to adopt the entire property?
We've got leeway. There's always, most communities that adopt the standard codes adopt amendments to them. So we have a lot of leeway as far as what we want to adopt and we don't want to adopt. We can make revisions to the language if we want to make individual changes. So we're not compelled to adopt the entire code.
Okay, great. And I know one of the things that brought this whole thing on was, Nader, very helpful with me with a parking issue. And the last question I have in regards to that is, what recourse do we have as far as removing a dismantled vehicle from a private parking space in an alleyway? So like Howard Court over here, there's a couple of dismantled vehicles. Do we have to take that to circuit court to get those removed, or how does that?
Unfortunately, if it's an inoperable motor vehicle, since it technically is still private property and it's on private, it's a private piece of personal property and it's on private property. In order to enter onto that private property, we have to get basically an administrative search warrant through the circuit court to allow us to go on and take it off. So it's a little bit of a process. We can work with you on some, what we've worked with other communities, like types of letters, other enforcement options to try and compel, residents to remove those cars before we have to go to circuit court, because it's not a quick or easy process.
No, for sure. And I know that, this is a private parking space. I know it's still technically the same thing, but it is in an alley, in a public alleyway. So, people are calling us a lot about that. So do you have any,
Yes, I went over our ordinance, and we can ticket on private property, we cannot tow. I had a conversation with Cook County Sheriff's Department, they cannot tow also off of private property. Although Cook County Building and Zoning, they can write up the vehicle and they will keep writing them up continuously until compliance is made. So they have more authority over that than we do.
Well, I wanted to say I appreciate your help with that vehicle, following up with the sheriffs. That was a big help.
We're working on it.
Hopefully, we could get some pressure on it.
It's out of there, we'll get it out of there.
Would it help if they just covered it with something? What's the safety issue? There's a vehicle that doesn't operate on somebody's property.
Well, if you want to take a drive down Howard, it's, take a drive down Robin, Dempster, Howard, and check it out.
It's visible to other neighbors, and so it's an eyesore.
Yeah, it's an eyesore, and if it's in wreck shape, if there's kids crawling under there, you don't know what's going to happen with that. So.
Cover might help. Car cover, that's what I would do. Cover it. And nobody knows what it is. It's just a covered item on private property.
We have quite a few vehicles in Maine Township unincorporated that are dismantled, disarray, derelict. But again, if they're on private property, they could be sentimental value to somebody. It's my father's, my brother's, and they don't want to give them up.
And that vehicle, I'm sure, it's got 2 license plates from Illinois and Wisconsin.
And Illinois.
It seems to have an identity crisis. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions of Nader or of Ed about this matter? Okay. Thank you very much. We're not actually voting on anything this evening, but I think this is something that merits a discussion over, 2 or 3 months even. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. All right, the next item is discussion and vote on spending authority policy. And you will find in your packet, I believe you will have the old policy in your packet, and perhaps at your place you will find a new policy. There's really just one change here. And that would be in section 3. Let me back up and say, section 2 provided before and continues to provide that the township supervisor is authorized to enter into a contract-related project authorized the board without the need to bring the contract before the board for additional approval, provided the contract shall not exceed $3,000. Section 3 used to provide the township supervisor have the authority to commit the township to expenditures each month not to exceed a total of $1,000 per month without prior township board approval for routine township operational needs provided in our funds budget. The proposed change would increase the amount in section 3 to also be $3,000. That is, township supervisors shall have the authority to commit the township to expenditures each month not to exceed a total of $3,000 per month without township board approval for routine township operational needs provided there are funds in the budget for such expenditures. So that's the only difference that we're looking at in the new policy here. So do I have a motion to approve the adoption of this new policy under resolution 2021-9?
Motion to approve resolution number 2021-9, authorizing the supervisor to pay routine invoices and expenditures and to enter into contracts provided for in the budget not to exceed $3,000.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right. Vivian, I just want to ask you, has there been any problem with the limit being at $1,000? Have you had any experience with that being troublesome? Right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Who said that?
I did.
Oh, she asked me.
Yeah, I voted Supervisor Diamond. I think you said my name if I'm not mistaken.
Well, either one.
Yeah,
I'm fair aware of it.
I had
I'll
issues.
comment after.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
I just had issues in the past, just within probably the last 3 to 4 months with some plumbing issues that's come up. And it was something where I just could not wait to go ahead and get it fixed until a board meeting, waiting 2 to 3 weeks, or the building would have been shut down for quite some time. So through plumbing alone right now, I've had some issues, and if anything with maybe AC, furnace, anything like that, major stuff just happens where it's 90-something degree day outside, I can run into that problem. When I do run into a problem, even in the moment, I still go ahead and call up multiple companies, get some estimates. I just don't make a phone call and pick the first one that's willing to come out. I do my homework a little bit and try to get the township the best price and the best work that is available in that short amount of time that I have. So,
All right.
thank you.
Did you want to add something?
Just real quick on my end, sometimes there's utility bills, there's phone bills, there's heating bills, and obviously it still goes through bill pay, but for me to put it on the agenda prior to get, approval from the board, just kind of seems silly. The other thing where I ran into a problem with the previous board, changed it to 1,000, is it forced me to do smaller orders, like office supply orders, but they don't want to cost me more money in the long run because when I do things in bulk, it actually is cheaper. So I can do smaller office supply orders. If somebody's computer broke, having to get a less expensive computer, because a less expensive computer isn't always a better computer. Another example is like I don't know if you mentioned it, but we have to cut down a tree. And cutting down a tree could be like, $1,100 or $1,200. I don't know if I need to put that in the agenda, and you'll obviously see that in bill pay. So there's certain things I don't know if I, really need to get approval from the board. So if we could just up that to 3,000, I'm not asking for that much more, I think it would be easier for everybody.
I seem to recall before this resolution 2018-7, it was significantly higher, even higher than
It was, honestly, I think it was
10,000.
It was 100% 10,000. I looked at our bills and invoices over the past few years. Actually, there really isn't that much. There's really nothing close to 10,000. That was actually a little high, to be honest with you. I think 3,000 was a good cutoff, and anything really kind of close to 5 probably should be going to the board. So I think 3 is probably seems fair. So that's what I'm asking for.
Okay.
Other
You agree?
questions?
Like,
Yes.
the same thing? Okay,
Yes.
you like that amount, 3,000, okay.
Are there other questions or comments regarding this? All right. Mayor Roll?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes?
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. All right, the next item that I have listed here is discussion and vote on line item transfer from town fund operating supplies to youth recreation fund. We already talked about that. Austin just discussed it about a half hour ago. So the actual vote is a little bit further down here on the agenda. But I think I don't think there's anyone who has, let me ask if we have a motion to transfer $3,000 from the town fund operating supplies to the youth recreation fund.
I move to transfer.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Is there a
thank
second? Second. Okay. Is there any other discussion on this?
No.
All right, maybe roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
And Trustee Malik?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, the next item is regarding the the Maine Township flooding lawsuit. And this is something that I suppose I might have put in the bill pay, but I actually asked Dorian and Daniel to take it out of our bill pay because it's sort of an unusual expense and it's a large expense. So I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, and it goes way back in time too. And some of you may remember this, and probably members who were on the board earlier have heard this discussed. There were 4 lawsuits filed against Maine Township and other defendants by a series of plaintiffs. These lawsuits were filed back in 2009 and subsequent years. Maybe there's one in 10, 11, 13, 14. Anyway, all of these lawsuits related to flooding, flood damage on the plaintiff's property in the Robin D community area after heavy rains. I think the first real flooding problem, I think, happened in September of 2008. The plaintiffs filed lawsuits against Maine Township, City of Park Ridge, Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, and so forth. And basically they complained that their neighborhood had caused major flooding and that the stormwater had accumulated and created problems for them. And they allege that Maine Township was responsible for stormwater management within the district. So Maine Township, actually at the very beginning, moved that the lawsuit should be dismissed because Maine Township owed no duty to the plaintiffs under the public duty rule. And they had not alleged that the plaintiffs had any special duty owed to them by Maine Township. So that argument was made early on, and the court initially found that the public duty rule did apply for all the defendants' alleged conduct, and that no special duty applied, and that therefore Maine Township should be dismissed. But while the case was still pending, the Illinois Supreme Court abolished the public duty rule in another case. And the issue that recently went up to the Illinois Supreme Court was, should the abolishment of that rule be applied retroactively? And ultimately, after a long analysis, the court found that it would not apply the rule retroactively, and therefore that the dismissal of the lawsuit against Maine Township would stand. So therefore, Maine Township did ultimately prevail in this lawsuit, which was resolved by the Illinois Supreme Court in November of 2020, so really just about 6 months ago, or so, well, a little over 6 months ago. So the lawsuit has been resolved, having gone all the way up to the Illinois Supreme Court. But what is left is to pay the bills, the attorney's fees, and that's why we're here now, because these attorney's fees have been piling up since 2013, I think, 2013, 2014. And we did receive representation through the Township Officials of Illinois Risk Management Association, sort of an insurance policy that we buy through the Township Officials of Illinois, which provides coverage, public officials and employee liability coverage, and provides a defense, but we have a $20,000 deductible. And what that means is we need to pay the first $20,000 in attorney's fees. And we did just receive a bill. The amount of attorney's fees that we, Maine Township, are liable for in this action is approximately $12,000, $12,065.53. So I believe you have those materials in your packet showing you how Township Officials of Illinois Risk Management Association did hire the firm of O'Halloran, Kossuth, Geithner, and Cook, listing their legal fees from 2014. I see it through 2014 here. And, well, I'm sorry, that's the billing dates. From 2015 through 2021. And you see the final amount there that we have to pay, because it's below our deductible amount. So again, I wanted to bring this to your attention. Again, it's an unusual expense, and it's an expense that was incurred over quite a few years, but it appears that this has now been put to rest, and that what we have to do now is pay for this bill. So, are there any questions regarding this matter? I know you perhaps have any chance to look at it.
I'm wondering how Niles got off the hook.
I don't know.
I noticed they're not named such a thing.
Yeah, I don't think that flooding occurred within the village of Niles, so I think that's why
I
they
think
were
there's a
not
lot of flooding.
named as a defendant. We were a number of defendants.
Just a few blocks away.
Yeah, right. So, in any event, do I have a motion to pay the outstanding bill of $12,065.53 to the Township Officials of Illinois Risk Management Association? Is that so moved?
Yes, that's so moved.
All right.
I think that price is a
All right,
deal.
and is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any further questions or concerns? All right, maybe we have roll call time?
Certainly. Supervisor Diamond?
Yes?
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right, fine, thank you. We're just about getting to the end here. We do also have discussion and vote on staff salary increases. Dana, would you like to address the board regarding this matter?
Very quickly.
Okay.
I know that the board is fairly new, but I just want to let them know that during this past year, during COVID, all of the employees really stepped up to the plate. Obviously, like probably most places of business, there just was a big overturn and overhaul of all of our programs, all of our departments. But all of the staff really showed teamwork. They were reliable. They were very dedicated to really keeping this place open. Obviously, we couldn't close down. So everyone just really asked what they can do, and without any grumbling, just took on all these extra jobs that obviously were not in their job description. Our food pantry was normally open 2 days a week for, I think, like 3 hours. Well, obviously, most people were in need of welfare programs in our food pantry. So we were open 5 days a week, 9 to 5. I needed help, so people just volunteered their time to sit and hand out food. We became appointment only, so people, weren't just coming into the building. So we had like a signed schedule where people just rotated, sitting literally at the front door, asking, who they were here to see, doing temperature checks, making sure everyone had masks on. I just have to say everyone just really, really stepped up to the plate, this past year. The other thing that I think was great was really revising programs. We didn't want to shut down. We didn't want to cancel programs. Thank God for Zoom. I don't know what we were done 20, 30 years ago, but we did as much as we can as department heads, really punted and realized we could do most things on Zoom. Telehealth, we were able to do counseling through telehealth. Some people realized they like it and still didn't want to come in, and that's fine. It works for them. They don't have to get in their car and drive here. But a lot of our programs we did through Zoom, and people loved it, and we really didn't cancel anything. When the weather got warm, I think everyone saw, we have our tent out in our parking lot. We had that last summer, and it worked great. People loved being outdoors, less chance of catching a virus. And, I just really would love to see the staff rewarded. We just really came together and really worked hard to keep this building open and running smoothly. So that's what I would like to say.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions of our administrator?
I would have to say, like Dana said, a little more. I don't know if anybody knows, but in 2018 we commissioned the salary study, the former board, and the salary study came back that our employees are actually underpaid as far as being competitive with other communities that were similar, peer communities. So, and on top of that, as Dana said, the employees really took pride in their positions and in the township last year and did work above and beyond. It was amazing to see everybody come together and work so hard. So it is well deserved. It has been well deserved for several years, and so I would enthusiastically support this. And we want to thank everybody for all the job that you do.
I'd just like to make a quick comment as well. I would reiterate that over the last 4 years, getting any type of a raise has been an absolute battle. So, if anything, the raises have been few and far between. They're certainly not what a lot of us felt they should have been. A lot of positions have been streamlined, cut. We've made as much consolidation as possible to the point where now we do have to, do a little bit of hiring to bring it back now that things are open back up. But I 100% agree, not only my staff in the clerk's department, but any department you go into, they've just done a great job. And, having been through here for the last 4 years, if I could vote, I certainly would for it because I do feel that they deserve it.
So there's not typically like an annual cost of living increase or any sort of merit-based raise?
There is. I think what Pete was saying is we really had to push for it.
Sure.
every year, and I did forget to mention, there was a reduction in force. So there were positions eliminated if somebody left, whether it was termination or they retired or whatnot. That position was just completely deleted, and anyone who was in that department had absorbed those duties. And maybe 1 or 2%, which was something, but everyone just had to take on double duties. There was just no replacing any positions once a person left for whatever reason. So pretty much that, thank you.
I want to say that I am aware of the salary study, and I think the new board would like to take a little time to look at that. I know that Kim Jones has had a chance to look at it, and we've been on the board before, but the rest of us are not entirely familiar with it yet. But even aside from money adjustments that might be made at some point regarding pursuant to the salary study, I think we would like to give all the staff members a raise, with the exception of a couple of departments who have received a raise during the past year. I understand the rating department, I believe the board would like to give them a certain raise to start fiscally conservative raise, but get at least something at this point. May I have
I also had a comment, Karen.
Pardon?
I also had a comment.
Yes.
Maybe now that we have some more statistics, maybe we can consider it again. One raise is good, 2 are better. So we can catch up commensurate with other townships. So, and that's just one vote, maybe consider this.
Is this just people within this building, or does that include
The motion that I would make would be with respect to employees who work in departments of general assistance, the seniors, that is mainstreamers, the seniors, OEM, administration, the clerk, and mainstay. So those, I believe, are the departments.
The highway commissioner controls salaries.
Right. Okay. So that's.
Assessor too. Assessor too.
My understanding is that
Yes, the board sets the budget, but the actual amounts are still set by the
but this raise would apply to the clerks.
Yes.
Okay. I'm asking if I have a motion for a 3% increase for the employees who work in the departments that I just mentioned. Is there such a motion?
Yes, I'll move to increase 3%.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, we have a second. Is there a further discussion or questions or comments? All right. Then I believe we need a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I just need to clarify my motion. That would be retroactive to the beginning of the fiscal year, which was March 1st. So I apologize, but I'd like to reword that motion to clarify it. Do I still have a motion and a second?
Yes, please.
Okay, fine. Having clarified that, would you forget the roll again?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Believe?
Yes. All right, thank you all very much, and I trust that will be taken care of. Okay. All right. Now we're down just about the end of our meeting, and it's time for official reports. So I have a few announcements myself, but I'd like to turn it over to other members of the board who may have some reports. Kelly, would you want to talk about some of the programs you attended?
Yes, so I attended a webinar through the Township of Illinois. It was called Best Practices for Township Use of Social Media, which is something that I am very interested in us starting to do. Right now we don't have any sort of social media accounts, and I think that it's sort of a missed opportunity, so I'm hoping that that's something we can discuss in the future soon, because I think it would be great for us to have a social media person, someone that can possibly do press releases, social media, create graphics, kind of encompass all of those things. So I think it would be beneficial to the residents, and it would help promote the
events, which one the first time is going to be in the Maine Township with the help of Maine Steamer, Miss Mary, who is the director for the Maine Township. The first, this is South Asian Culture Program, which one is going never happen in Maine Township. So the first event is going to be Indian Culture Day, which one is going to be on August 3rd, is on Tuesday, 5:30 to 8:30. And the second event is going to be Pakistan Culture Day, which one is going to be August 28th, 5:30 to 8:30.
What's the date on the second one?
August 28th.
28th?
Yeah, 5:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
Yeah, in the Maine Township, yes.
And those will be here?
Yeah, it's going to be Maine Township, yeah.
Food and music.
It's going to be food, music, culture, dance, yeah. And this will be the free entry.
Free entry.
Yeah, free entry, anybody.
So I understand you're working with Marie.
Yeah, Marie.
Streamers on that. I think this will be a lot of work, but I think it could be a big smash. So we're looking forward to that. And we'd also like to invite not just seniors, but anyone from the community, because I think this will be very interesting. Two events.
Pakistan Culture Day, from the Pakistani community coordinator will be Mr. Masood Saeed. He's in the...
Hello. Thank you.
And
please stand up. So you're going to be helping with this, is that right? For the Pakistani event?
Yes.
On August 28th?
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And Indian Culture Day, the coordinator will be Altaf Bukhari. I think he was on another committee, Altaf Bukhari. And the other person name is Manaj Jakar. So they both will be coordinator for Indian Culture Day.
Okay, well, we look forward to hearing more about this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you.
All right. Any other reports from trustees?
Short one.
Okay.
I just want to say that I've attended several Maine Streamers events, and they've both been fabulous, and I plan to attend another one tomorrow. We went to the Polish dance and music last week, and in May went to the Four C-Notes, which was also excellent. And also we had a neighborhood watch meeting at the beginning of beginning of this month, and we're having the next one is scheduled for July 7th. So I hope that you're here and available. And this will be the first one at the township in over a year. So it will be in the tent outside at 7:30, and we welcome anybody in Maine Township who's interested in the community to attend the neighborhood watch. I think you'll find it interesting. The fire marshal is there. I think Nader may be there, and our highway commissioner. We have the sheriff, the commander that comes and he fills us in on what's going on as far as crime. They also invite a lieutenant and Penny, and it's very interesting, and it's a great way to meet your neighbors and also become aware of what's going on in your community. So I hope you attend, and July 7th. And I want to wish everybody a very healthy and safe 4th of July, Independence Day. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you.
No, I just want to catch up and with my friend Marty and learn about adult rehabilitation. So one of my interests, and Marty's going to teach me all about that.
All right, well, you can be the liaison.
Do that occasionally myself, so we're going to help people get back on their feet.
Great,
Right.
great. Speaking of 4th of July, we will be marching in the Niles 4th of July parade, and several of us will be in the parade. If anybody wants to join us, they're welcome to do so. So we're looking forward to that and hoping we have mild weather. I have a few more announcements, but I did want to ask if either of our elected officials who are here, either our clerk or highway commissioner, have any announcements that you would like to make? I want to give you that opportunity.
Just something real quick on my end, kind of following up on National Night Out. I did speak with the Des Plaines Police and the Park Ridge Police. Both of those did decide to cancel the event this year, and it was kind of due to the same reason that, you know, I was leaning towards canceling, is it just takes so many moving parts to get that coordinated. We usually start in like February, so they just felt that, you know, to try and put it together at this point would be difficult. I spoke with Penny Matek, who is our outreach coordinator for the Cook County sheriffs, and, you know, she said that several of the sheriffs were still pretty leery about doing anything in person either. You know, we had talked about potentially doing some type of a drive-through National Night Out, but the logistics on that seem like it would be pretty difficult to coordinate in time and get something together as well. So begrudgingly, I think, you know, for this year, we would probably have to cancel as well, and then really go at it again gangbusters next year. I know I've got a new enthusiastic board, so I'll have a lot of help, which I would appreciate. And then we can, you know, start planning by, you know, next February, which should give us plenty of time to really do the National Night Out the way it deserves to be done.
Okay, thank you. Ed, anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, just a few things. I'll be quick. So this last month has been very educational for me. I've had the chance to meet with other highway commissioners and network, and that has been very informational for me. Currently, I'm reviewing and reassessing the fiscal year 21 and 22 budget, taking into account our highway staff. We do have summer help, but we are also technically short one staff member. And I know the guys cut a lot of their vacation short this last winter to pick up the slack on the roads, especially in February. So it's good for them to get a little bit of a slowdown. We've been taking inventory of street signs, poles for repair and replacement. Highway crews have been conducting annual maintenance and repairs of right-of-way, streets, and storm sewers. Inspection of trees and right-of-way for trimming and possible removal have taken place. And my administrator, Dawn Heyman, has been pursuing Cook County grant opportunities for possible infrastructure improvements. So a lot going on over there, and I just wanted to say a big thanks to our senior department. I've had a chance to go to the couple of events, and they've been outstanding. I think I even saw Trustee Malik out there dancing at the Polish Fest. So, nice job.
Nice. Thank you. Okay, I have just a few more announcements, and then we'll get you out of here. One is that, as you trustees may know, that we are required to take the Attorney General's training online on the Open Meetings Act, and I think FOIA too. But we can't do that now because, as you may have heard, the Illinois Attorney General's website was hacked. I think it was in April, and it's down, and it still is not up and fully running yet. So I just checked it again this afternoon, and you still cannot access that training. So I think the time limit for us to take that training is being told, that's my understanding anyway, until we can actually get on that website and do it. So that's something we will do as soon as we can. Trustee Kelly took some training from the township officials of Illinois, one on open meeting regs and FOIA, one on COVID, and one on social media. But despite the fact that we watched the same show, I think we came to different conclusions. Kelly thinks it's a good idea, I think it's a horrible idea. But we will talk more about that, getting involved on Facebook and how we would monitor those sites and things like that. So I think that could be the subject of a lengthy discussion in the future. And I certainly know there are good reasons for doing it, but it's complicated in that we are a public body and we have certain limits on what we can do and whether or not we can censor, or we can't really censor any comments that are placed on our website, or censor it in a very, very limited fashion. So, but that will be an interesting discussion, I think. So, two other things I wanted to mention. We are going to have, as you may know, a drug take-back and electronics recycling event on August 21st, and we're also having a document shredding event on September 25th. So if you're looking to get rid of all that stuff in your house, want to mark those down. And, here we are in June, we've already had some very, very hot weather, so I think it's worthwhile noting that Maine Township building does serve as a cooling center. So if you know any individuals who, perhaps they don't have air conditioning or it's broken and they need to get out of the house, this is a cooling center that is open to the public during business hours. I think those are all of our events and announcements for this evening. Are there any comments that any of the board members would like to make, or any other events that have occurred to them?
Just a question, Karen, for the 4th of July parade at Niles, where is everybody gathering?
Oh, we're at the Notre Dame parking lot. And
I'll have that information very shortly.
Notre Dame High School for Boys parking lot?
Right. And from our elected officials, anything else? No. Okay, all right. Then do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes. I make a motion to adjourn.
All right, and a second?
Second.
Okay. And roll call?
Certainly. Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Lilly?
Yes.
Thank you all for attending. Have a nice evening.